Welcome to another episode of Talking Nerdy in the Bedroom with me. And I've got a couple of special guests. We've got Nick and we've got Richard. We're doing a little something special because next week, when this most likely airs, we will, well, two of us, maybe Richard as well,
Possibly.
will be at a premiere of Ant-Man. So while this is trying to get this out of the way now as an episode so I don't have to worry about it later. Look at that. I'm being pragmatic. But what were you going to say something about me being pragmatic?
You didn't let me say my name in the intro.
No, because you're not part of the podcast. You're a guest. You're
Whatever.
a special guest.
Keep going.
All right. Well, here we go. With special guest
Nick.
and
Richard.
there we go. Look at that.
Thank
Wasn't
you.
that better? Everybody
I'm
feels
smiling
special
now.
now.
I have a gripe with who made the animation of my face.
Of the face? Was it
it
because
you?
of... No,
Was it
I didn't
you?
make it. I
Who
got
made
it
that?
made.
Who made that?
I got it made off Fiverr.
Fuck Fiverr.
You didn't like the double chin? Is that what it was?
It enhanced the double chin a little more. It could have had me looking up.
I had to pick the picture. Like I sent like a few pictures off of the Facebook and was like, "Hey, yeah, use those." And he's like, "Yeah." You should see Nick. Nick's
I don't
is
remember mine.
super big. Oh, it's gonna be posted. Don't you worry. Like his is very big, and he's rocking the hat because he's always rocking the hat.
Because I'm bald.
Yeah, something
Same.
like that.
I'm not bald, but I'm
Same.
bald.
I mean, you're kind of going bald.
Same. I've had there for 5 years. Tops.
All right. So this episode is going to be about Always Sunny in Philadelphia, which is the longest running sitcom show ever. They broke that record last year with season 15, and they're filming season 16 as we speak, which is awesome because I can't wait for the new season. So this show is a sitcom, but it's not taped in front of a live audience. And it's about terrible, terrible people. And it's amazing.
Well, are they terrible?
I mean, yes. They openly admit of how terrible they are as people. And you see it in almost every episode. So I'm going to start to begin with a little bit of history to see, so Nick, when did you start watching this show? Was it right when it first came out? Or was it after the fact?
I remember trying to watch it when it was on TV, and I thought it was stupid. I gave it 2 tries or so, and then didn't touch it for a few years.
Yep.
So probably started watching it, maybe they were like season 5 or something. 5 or 6.
Yep. So, that's at least by the time you got into it, you had a lot of episodes to get through, because most of their seasons are around 12, at least until now the later seasons are 10 and 8.
Oh, that's
but
so
they were
cool.
12 to 14.
Discovering it, you like it at 5 or 6, you can go back and be like,
Yeah.
let me rewatch.
Right.
So much of it, yeah.
That's awesome.
What about you, Richard? Did you
I don't
immediately
remember.
start watching it when it first was on TV?
I think so.
Really?
Think so. Yeah, I just remember as a kid on FX, when FX wasn't really a thing, the whole Yellow, It's Always Sunny. I remember staying up later.
Do you remember
to
Danny
watch it.
DeVito in it, or no Danny DeVito?
I guess I don't remember. I don't
Yeah,
know.
so obviously he's not in the first season, and I don't know if you know why, but after the first season,
I don't,
the
actually.
network loved the show.
Yeah.
No one was watching.
Really?
No one was watching. They were getting nothing for ratings. So they wanted to introduce somebody that had some star power to it, which eventually became Danny DeVito, and more people started watching because of him. And then obviously it's super funny, and it just kept getting funnier and funnier. And it wasn't until around season 6, 7, 8-ish where they started becoming a cult classic.
Right.
And I think more or less probably when it got on Hulu.
Mainstream sort of.
Yeah, where just everybody was watching it, and you could just stream it for hours on end.
I do remember watching it before it was anyone knew what it was.
Yes.
But it might have been season 2 or 3.
Yeah, I remember talking to a friend of mine and hearing an Always Sunny reference, and I was like, there's no fucking way they know what Always Sunny is.
Mm-hmm.
And it took me forever to watch it. Nick knows this. I couldn't get through the first episode. The first episode with about racism is so cringy to me. I love it now, but at first, and this is something with me, we've talked about it in other podcasts before, where The Office was the same way. If I go into episode 1 of The Office, it's so cringy how Michael Scott is that I couldn't get over it. I couldn't move past it. And the same thing with Always Sunny. But then I learned to embrace that cringe and love it. And then it's just so funny. But it took me forever. I don't think it wasn't until season 8 or 9, maybe. So for me, it was great because by the time I actually liked it, I had a lot of seasons to actually get through and enjoy of like 90 plus episodes, right? And then every year they keep coming out with more, and I'm all about it. Like it's so good. The characters they have, I believe, even the over the top stuff, I believe because I'm so invested in those characters, and I believe who they've turned them into, because even though it's like a sitcom, you still get a lot of character development with them to see Dennis's evolution into basically the serial killer type person that he is.
Yeah.
Mac's progression into being gay. You got that whole thing.
They do such a good job at keeping the characters almost like growing in real life. You know what I mean? Like they have them progressing as the same people, but growing over time into different people.
Correct.
While still being the same people.
Yeah.
And I think the reason I sort of started to grow towards the show early on when I was, probably in high school, because it had a Seinfeld sort of structure to it.
Yep.
I was always a Seinfeld fan when I was a kid, and it had the same sort of,
a show about nothing.
A show about nothing, and things always seem to go, the opposite of the way they want them to go.
Or even not even necessarily opposite, but because of their own interactions with each other, it can make it something be really funny that shouldn't be funny. That is something like with a mundane setting.
Yeah, and their actions would just make other actions like worse and worse.
Yeah,
and worse.
snowballs, it's so good,
so funny.
Yeah, they just have this way of writing that's perfect. And
they write it themselves, right?
Yes, yeah.
So Charlie Day, I think, is the main writer. Is that correct?
No, so it's Charlie and Rob are the main ones. And then Dennis, or not Dennis, but Rob Howard
McElhenney?
No, what? No, not
You
the
said
other
Rob.
one. Glenn. I couldn't think of his name. Glenn Howerton. He writes too, but he doesn't do as much as the other ones. Especially after season 11 or 12, where he takes his character at the end of the season goes away and you don't know if he's coming back for the next season.
Oh, that's right.
And he just wanted to take a break, and he was actually thinking about being done.
Yeah.
And they called him in, and they were just like, well, do you just want to act? Like, rather than doing all this other stuff you were doing, you can just act. And so that's why he came back and started doing that.
Thank God.
And then fell back in love with it.
Thank God.
Yeah, because, his character's so good.
So good.
They also have this, what's that?
It's amazing, his character.
Yeah, yeah. They have this ability to play off the straight man. The cereal.
His anger.
That was a real.
That's a real So I don't know if you've watched their podcast.
I've watched. I really want to get into it actually, but because I keep seeing clips from it, and the clips that I see are incredible. They kind of get behind the scenes on some.
Yeah,
of the things
and they talk about that. We haven't even got to that episode yet. But they talk about that episode, and they mention that it was like a real life thing that happened to Glenn. Like he this is like an actual story that happened. That then obviously we get the Always Sunny version of it. But it's so good, and to hear for us watching, like especially Nick and I, because I think we've watched every single one. You get to see them three. Like you see a lot of TV shows or movies and things like that where they don't. They're not really friends. Like they're friends on set. You're like work colleagues, but then you go off, do your own thing. If you see them again, great. You say hi. These three are best friends, and have been for 2-3 decades, whatever it's been. And you see that when they're doing the podcast too. It's one of the reasons why I like the idea of doing a podcast with 2 other people, just to shoot the shit with and make jokes and laugh and all this other stuff, because you can have that type of camaraderie with people that you actually like and enjoy to spend time with.
Right.
And they definitely have that. And I think that comes across on the screen too. Like none of them are phenomenal actors. Obviously, probably Charlie's one of the best ones because he's able to adapt his persona. And I don't mean Charlie Day.
Frank's incredible on that show.
Well, no. I mean him as a person. Like obviously, Danny DeVito is probably the best actor out of all of them.
Yeah.
But Charlie has gone on and do a bunch of other movies and things like that, and he has the acting chops. But during the show, because they're all friends, it comes across like they are actually friends who get in certain arguments with each other. And I love that there's always a straight man. Now, sometimes it's one of them, sometimes it's a side character that they bring in, but there's always a straight man that comes in that plays a scene completely like rational like we would if we were in there. And seeing that straight man play off them when they're just going bonkers about something and they just keep escalating and the straight man's just there like, what is going on?
Yeah.
It's so funny. It's so good.
It's such a classic. It
Yeah.
really is. And the
it's
fact
funny
that
to call it a classic when
still
even though
going.
it's 15 years, yeah,
Right.
it's still going.
Well, it's great because they do write it and act in it. They almost cut out the middleman, so there's no one really like giving them notes. Like, add more of this, take out this. Maybe
Well, they do get some of that, but way less now because they're as popular.
But they're able
as they
to
are.
like think of something the night before, and then the next day, like, all right, let's do this scene. I thought of this, a really funny idea. Let's try this. You know.
Well, I know in the latest podcast episode, the Meg, who is the person that runs the podcast, she's one of the writers on the show too. She just turned in a script to them that was like 28 pages long, and what that means for them, most scripts are like 30 to 35 pages. It means there's a lot of room to improv, and they love improving. Yeah. They love trying to add more stuff to a scene. And that's one of the things with the podcast that if you ever do go listen to it, that both Nick and I liked is to hear what stuff was actually like made up on the day.
I see some clips about like the dance-a-thon.
Yep.
I think there was a lot of things improved.
Some of the dances, was very much
great
episode.
Done.
Yep.
Great episode.
With Mac doing his the punching, the elbows. It's so good.
Dude, I still do this. I do this all the time.
Yeah, do that. Yeah. It's funny to me because one of the reasons I wanted to do this episode for the podcast is I always come up with little clips for our podcast that go on TikTok and all that stuff. And it always has videos of whatever we're talking about. I'm just going to enjoy going to find all those Always Sunny clips and putting it in over our voices.
Yeah.
Like, it's just going to be fun to watch those clips again because it's hard to get sick of this show.
Do you have a particular episode that's your favorite one?
So, season 7 is my favorite season because that's the episode where they go to the Jersey Shore.
Yep, great.
That great episode. One. That's Frank's Little Beauties. How Mac got fat. Thunder Gun Express, and the high school reunion. Both 2 episodes of the high school reunion.
Awesome
Season episodes. 7 for me is the tops. High school reunion is my second favorite episode, I think. But my favorite episode, Nick, do you remember what my favorite episode is?
No.
Really? I don't know if it's also season 7. But if I don't remember, if I don't nail this in.
Oh, Charlie McDennis.
Charlie McDennis.
Oh,
it's
great.
So good.
Great one.
It is my favorite episode. I love that with them.
Great one.
And even the sequel to it, Charlie McDennis 2 Electric Boogaloo, is still really good. And they bring in what's his face from The Office, who plays
when that episode first.
Which one? The first one or the second one?
No, the second one.
Yeah.
Because I'm not sure how I saw it, but it wasn't like I wasn't able to see like the preview, like what the episode was called.
Yep.
It was just kind of coming along to me, and I saw and I was so excited. I'm like, no way.
Yep.
That's a great episode.
Yeah,
that's
it's so good, and it's just I love the thought that they're like, screw it, we're making our own board game, and I could imagine them just being absolutely hammered and coming up with questions
pitching
and
it
rules.
To Hillsborough and
all that stuff.
Such a great episode.
What about you, Nick? Do you have a favorite episode, or is it World Series Defense? Or is it hate crime or
Hero or Hate Crime?
Hero or Hate Crime is a good one.
That might be my favorite.
The Hero or Hate Crime?
Off the top of my head, what I can think of right now, and I have a terrible memory. Hero or Hate Crime. Gang goes on a road trip.
Oh, that's a good one.
The monkey one from the last season.
Oh, so he hasn't seen that one. You got to watch the newer season.
I haven't seen the new season.
The gang replaces D with a monkey is so fucking funny.
Oh, I have to check it out.
I
have to check it out.
It's easily the best episode of that season.
Yes.
At least for us. It's not the highest rated episode of that season, but I loved that episode. I laughed more at that episode than any of the others.
Gang Goes on Road Trip was a great episode.
It really was.
It's such a simple premise.
They never get out of Philadelphia.
No, they never. Which works for Charlie, you know.
It's such a great episode.
And it's great because it captures like the characters that they were in the first like 4 or 5 seasons.
Yeah, I think that's season 4.
Yeah, I feel like it's the best representation of early on.
Yeah.
It's Always Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have that middle version, and now you have the more wacky,
which
I love.
None of them are crazy in this episode.
Which one?
Like the one that you're talking about, gang goes road trip. Nobody goes like off the walls.
Right. It's simple.
Like very
Frank
simple and a simple premise. And the only time anybody ever yells, I think, obviously, is like when Dee throws piss in Mac's face. But nobody like. There's always some type of person going yelling, screaming, which I always love. Everybody talking over each other is so funny to me. But that's not one that has it. So I agree with you. Like that kind of shows you. It was one of the last episodes where it felt like before they started ramping it up more. Now, granted, there were other episodes before that where they did ramp it up, but that's like a perfect moment in time where you got to kind of see where they were, where they're going, and now where they're going to be.
Yeah.
I think I have a favorite episode from each
season
category of like the first season.
Mm-hmm.
I have a top 10 in there, and the next 2, 3, 4, or 5 seasons or so.
Yep.
I have one in there. I have one at the very last season, which is crazy to think that I can have like a top 5 from their first season
all
to
the
their
way to the
15th.
end.
Right.
Yeah.
It's
It
crazy.
stayed that good all the way.
It did. Like another one I love is the water park, when they go to the water park.
Oh, the water park's a good one. They also loved that episode. They loved filming that. They also said it was super easy to write. Like it just came to them as they were going. It's so good. There's 3 different stories in that episode that all work perfectly with each other. AIDS. I got AIDS.
Not the gay AIDS.
Not the gay AIDS. No, I tested it. Was a gay. No. There's 2 types of AIDS. Oh, it's so good.
I think it might be number 6. I don't know if I said 4 or 5, 6, but also I still love the first one. The gang gets racist. I think that's out of the cringy first season. I love that episode.
So out of the first season, I think my favorite episode might be the one where they introduce the McPoyles, which I think it might be the season finale.
Oh God, I forgot about the
Yeah, the McPoyles. They introduced the McPoyles
Milk.
even early in the first season.
I think I have 30
Where
to
Charlie gets
35.
molested, I think is what it's called.
Yeah, that's a good one.
Yeah, hard to not pick that one.
I think I have 30 to 35 top 5 episodes.
I was
honestly,
going to say, if I'm trying to think of my favorite episode, I have so many. I cannot. It's hard to choose.
There are
just
too
one.
many.
Yeah, it's hard to choose one.
That's
Which is
the
insane.
great thing about a show.
Yeah.
Like, so if I think of like The Simpsons, that's been on for 30 something years. When I was a kid, I watched that every Sunday. That was part of the ritual for Sunday nights was Animation Domination, where it's just on. Great. I probably could tell you a few episodes, and there's always like 1 or 2 good ones out of the year. Family Guy, I still watch it, but there's still only like 1 or 2 that are really, really good. Always Sunny has so damn many, and it's rare when they miss. So you'll see an episode that I didn't like. I don't remember if you liked it or not in this newest season with the gang buys a roller rink, and I didn't like it. There's so much. There's certain moments in it that were funny, but it wasn't a good episode. Not to me at all.
No.
Yeah.
So you're still gonna have sometimes of that, but the rest of the season's great.
Yeah.
And especially like the first episode of that season is like a recap of everything that went on during the pandemic. And I didn't like it at first, and then I watched it again and again, and I was just like, "Ooh, I kind of actually really liked what they're going for here."
Like the episode that I didn't really like at first, but it grew on me was the one when they're stuck on the cruise ship in the
the
prison.
gang goes to hell.
The gang goes to hell.
Oh, I love that episode so
at first
much.
I didn't, but then I watched it again, and now it's one of my favorite ones.
So I know there's an episode that you didn't like until I explained something to you.
The when they were playing laser tag.
The Big Mo.
Yeah.
The gang waits for Big Mo.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you remember that
I don't
episode
think
where
I
they
do.
play laser tag. But it's the end of
I
season like 13 or 14. It's the season finale. And during the episode, it literally just looks like they're playing laser tag the whole time. And some of them want to have fun. The other ones just want to win and all that. And Nick hated that episode. And then I was like, well, why do you hate it? I just watched it. It's great.
I didn't hate.
Well,
I don't
okay,
hate any
you
of
didn't
them.
like it as much as you normally like an episode.
I just thought it was boring.
Yes. And then I started explaining what they were going for because they're trying to drop all this subtext about their show. Like, it's all actually about their show, Always Sunny in Philadelphia. We need to keep doing this so we can stay on top. We need to keep doing this, or maybe we just retire, or we need to keep doing this so we can keep making money. But no, we want to do, everybody else is like, no, we want to do all this fun stuff.
Oh, yeah.
And no, we can't do the fun stuff because if we do the fun stuff, we're not going to be on top anymore and we could fail.
Gotcha.
but it's all about their show. Every little joke, everything is about them talking about the show themselves and the criticism that they faced and everything. Like, it's great. It's not very Always Sunny-esque, but there are some episodes that are like the gang tries desperately to win an award. Is an amazing episode about them literally trying to win an Emmy for their show, and that's what they're referencing through the whole thing, rather than just obviously trying to win the bar trophy. But that's what they're doing. They have a bunch of episodes like that where they're trying to talk about everything. The gang solves climate change or whatever it's called. That one's all about the actual climate change, like everything going on in the bar with it flooding and it being too hot and nobody wanting to take a break. That's all about what's actually going on. So they have so many of those that are so funny, but I feel like those might even get glossed over because some of the other episodes where they're doing crazy shit is so funny and they're so quotable. The episode where Charlie and Mac get a job to get insurance is so funny.
Pepe Sylvia.
Oh,
great episode.
It's so good.
That's one of my favorite episodes.
Yeah, it's referencing "Secret to My Success," the movie.
And one of the greatest memes of all time has come from
that. Him just pointing to the map, smoking a cigarette. Yeah, it's great. I loved the. Sorry, Nick. I loved the idea that all the fan theories, whereas Pepe Sylvia meant Pennsylvania and Charlie's can't read, so that's what it comes from. But it has nothing to do with that at all. But that's so intuitive that, like, I think they would have wished they would have done that and had that plan. Did you forget what you were going to say?
Yes.
Okay.
I was going to say that I just remembered like 5 or 6 more top 5 episodes, but
there's so many. Like if I had to choose one, again, you can name other ones and be like, oh, actually I like that one better. But if I'm just like half the top of my head, the gang buys a boat.
That's a good one. That's
because of the implications.
Not one of my
the implications.
Oh,
because of the implications.
They do introduce the implications in that one. Damn it! Because I was gonna be like, that's an okay one. You got D with the wacky way.
I love it when Dennis is always like, D, you goddamn bitch.
You goddamn bitch.
You goddamn bitch, D.
And then everybody else does it too.
Even when she's not saying anything.
Yes,
the wacky waving inflatable tube
man. And then obviously like Mac when he lifts her up. Like a ballerina during the Time's Up episode is hilarious. That Time's Up episode is so good.
The cool health inspection.
Health
episode?
inspection. Great.
Oh my God, I love that
Charlie Day, Charlie Work, or something like that.
Or Max Day. What was it? Max Day?
Well, that's one, but he's talking about the one that is
I don't remember the title.
One continuous shot of Charlie. It's where they get the order of steaks in.
Oh, that's
airline
the
chicken
health
miles.
inspection.
Yeah, the health inspection.
That's
Yeah,
health inspection one.
I'm
that's
going
a great
to.
Episode. Great episode.
Airline miles chicken
Yes.
scam that they're running.
Yes. Well, it's such a good idea that they thought of. All right, let's have a whole episode of like just Charlie Day, and then they can just do whole like 4 or 5 episodes. Like, all right, now it's
it's called Charlie Work.
And when they were like, Dennis said, was it Dennis? Yeah, Dennis said, Charlie, don't pretend to know what you're talking about. Or don't pretend to know what the plan is, because it's going to piss me off.
And then he knew it immediately.
He knew exactly what it was.
And then I love that he told D to move the dumpster like an extra inch or two away because we got to get dinged on it.
Just
and
do
then,
oh, you goddamn bitch. Just
you goddamn bitch. Oh, you goddamn bitch.
It's the only thing that didn't get done.
Yeah, it's the only thing, yeah.
Yeah, and she's like, well, I do have to mark it for it.
And he's like, that goddamn bitch.
He's like, oh, do you damn bitch.
It's so funny. The fact, and so I don't know if you know this, so during season, in between 1 and 2 or 2 and 3, they wanted to have Dee keep being the straight character, because if you go back to season 1, she's not doing too much crazy stuff. It's only after that she does, because she says it's not going to work. If you just have me doing this and they're all being crazy, it's not going to work.
It's not going to be believable that she's hanging around all these
Correct.
Nutcases.
And it's same thing with like Frank. If you go back to watch Frank episode 1, well, season 2 episode 1, he's playing it a little bit straight of what it is, but then he goes down that rabbit hole.
But they almost do that in the show. Like, he was introduced to the gang as like a wealthy individual who was just trying to find himself and get away from the world that he was in. And then he slowly and slower becomes crazier and crazier.
He goes from businessman
when
to
he falls
eating
out
cat
the window.
food.
That was one of the best episodes.
I hated that episode.
You didn't like that episode?
Oh, I hated that episode so much.
Really?
Frank falls out of a window.
I love that one.
It just rehashed everything from the first the episode with him, and then. But
I just love him and Charlie's dynamic together.
Those two together are so good.
So
the episode where they go to like the dump and they just start taking stuff, and then they have like shopping carts full of stuff. We can't. Yeah. Well, they fill up their whole apartment. Well, where are we gonna sleep? And they go sleep outside. Yeah. Like what? It's just so good.
And when they brought the foreigners in and advertised the shitter down the hall.
Cube.
Yeah. There's a shitter down the hall.
Oh yeah. It's so convenient.
It's so convenient.
Yeah. Oh, it's just but there are so many, like obviously Dennis and Rob's character.
Mac,
thank you. Are like they have a great dynamic together.
Yes, when they move to the suburbs.
Mac and
Mac
and Charlie. Oh, the suburbs episode is a good one. Also, how have we not talked about the Nightman Cometh?
Oh my god!
Do you know that is the highest ranked episode of their entire series?
Really?
Nightman Cometh.
Probably because of the song.
It's so good. Corey and I were getting lunch at a place, and there was two people ahead of us, and he was just singing that song, like just completely going for it. And I was just like, "Hey, it's good to know he's an Always Sunny fan, right?"
Moves to the Suburbs is a top 5, by the way.
A top 5 of the top
5.
15 that you have.
100%.
Yeah.
Wow, it's hot out here. Is it? Is it?
When he's yelling at that guy.
Is it Wally?
Is it Wally? I haven't noticed.
Seize the gap, you goddamn bitch!
Yeah.
Dude,
he
that
speeds
road
into the
rage,
driveway, and then someone else speeds away. What is this, Indy 500?
the road rage of Dennis. I relate to that. Like, there's times where I'm out there, just seize the gap. What are you doing?
Well, it's like sometimes I feel that in my mind, so it's so funny that you see someone that's just like,
actually
you goddamn bitch,
you fat cow.
yeah. He's screaming at the top of his lungs.
He's not. It's so good. Oh god. But then so you have Mac and Charlie's relationship. That's great too.
Yep.
Obviously Frank and Charlie. Obviously,
Charlie and D.
Charlie and D, theirs is so weird because they don't do it that often.
Yeah, but when they do, it's great.
Yeah, they had the episode where they slept together.
Yes.
Was a very funny one. The video game one, I think, is even better than that.
That's a great.
The Mac, the gang rules the world, or Charlie rules the world. Rules the world. But there is this. What I loved about the episode where they sleep together is that then they do a callback to it in the Me Too episode or the Time's Up episode, where Charlie tells the gang finally, like, "Well, D raped me," and she's like, "I didn't rape you," and he's like, "You were I said no, I didn't want to do it, and you just kept covering my mouth and being like, I can't finish if you're talking," and she's like, "Oh yeah, that definitely happened."
And then in that episode when Frank called somebody and said, "I need you to come over here" or something. My dong fell out again.
Yeah, again. You gotta love the again part of it. Yeah. There's just so many that are the World Series defense is always going to be great.
That's a great one. Even the one with the Super Bowl one, the gang.
The gang goes to Super Bowl. Yeah.
That the Patriots lost that Super Bowl. I should
both
hate
those
everything.
2 episodes.
Everything about that. Yeah. And I still love
the fact that they wrote that in, so to speak, of like, what? Oh, he had something in his eyes.
Or like the TV turned off and all Tom Brady needs to do is drive down the field. And when he's like, "Oh no, we lost." And then, come to find out, it's just so great that they incorporated the game so much into the show.
Yes.
Even at the Patriots,
demise,
but it's still.
But so the part where and that's Jason. Is it Jason Kelsey? Is that his first name? Jason.
Yeah. Jason. Yeah.
Which you look. He's in so much like.
He's in. Thanks.
It's weird.
Oh, you do.
Thanks. So he's in the episode, and Charlie pulls his. Yeah. He's one of the
2 guys.
Two guys talking to Charlie in the first part.
Shit, you're right. But back then when I watched it, I never really thought about that because he wasn't like a.
Charlie yanks off the bear trap, and then they're like, "Oh, Brady's got the ball back." He's like, "Oh, what had changed? You're gonna have to get back in the bear trap."
Same leg.
Same leg. Yeah, it's gonna be the same leg. It's so good.
It's such that show is so funny.
The episode where, and you don't really like this episode, but I liked it, Being Frank, where it's all from Frank's point of view, the entire episode. I loved that different premise. That
was the Frank fell out the window episode, wasn't it?
No. Frank falls out of the window is the episode where obviously it's Frank's story,
Right.
but you're not seeing from his eyes.
Oh, I thought
The one that you're seeing
so
from
maybe
his
that's the one I got
eyes.
confused with. Then I think.
Okay, so the one you're seeing from his eyes is where Dennis's car gets impounded, and then they have to they're trying to get it back, and then he ends up like talking to Ponderosa, which is hilarious. Ponderosa's really funny.
I'm getting those for some reason. I'm combining those
Yeah.
episodes.
But yeah, so I love the Being Frank one just because it's so different, and you got a little bit more of Frank.
How he thinks.
Yeah, how he thinks, and that he's really not paying attention.
Right.
And then, hey, Frank, you want to run us through this again? Shut up, you goddamn bird.
Yeah. Yeah. He's like, I can't think of something. Shut up,
I
you
absolutely love Frank, but I didn't like that episode.
Yeah. Dude, I love when Dennis is talking to him, and he's like, what is his name? What is his name? And then they go through all this thing, and then eventually he's like, your name's Dennis. It's like 10 minutes later. And he's like, what? Oh, there's just so many moments of the show that I know, like, Nick and I have sent each other gifts just back and forth of funny stuff that we can find. The Charlie dance thing where he gets all excited.
Oh, when he pulls his pants up?
No, not the butt one. But there's
so
one where he's
funny.
going like this with his arms, and he's in like his raggedy clothes.
Yeah.
Oh, it's like him just being all excited.
You know, another one I love from the early seasons is the gang gets an abortion.
Gang gets an abortion
That's
is a good one.
When Mac gets the girl, thought he got the girl pregnant, and she's like, "I'm pregnant,"
And he
he's like,
immediately
"You're gonna
goes,
have
"You
to
need to
get
get an abortion."
Very end,
Yeah.
an abortion. Yeah.
Yeah,
She's like,
that's
a
the first
test.
season. Yeah.
And he said, "I failed." Yes.
Yes. Aw.
Oh, I love that.
Yeah. That's a good one.
The Dennis system.
Dennis, and did you know that's actually Dennis's wife? That the girl that he Dennises is
really?
His
wife in real life?
Glenn's wife in real
Right.
life.
Oh, no way.
Yep. And so obviously we know Rob's real wife is Caitlin, which plays Dee,
Yeah.
and we know Charlie's real wife is the waitress.
Oh, really?
Oh, you didn't know that? Yeah,
I
that's
didn't
his
know
real
that.
life
Oh,
wife.
shit.
Oh, really? I
Yeah.
knew that Dee and
Mac.
Mac were.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
That's so funny.
I feel like
That's
this was a
hilarious.
moment we just had.
I
together.
know. I've given him a couple now.
I
Where he's
had
just
no
like,
idea.
shit.
I really had no idea.
Yeah, they're real life married, which is why so the episode where they go
That makes more sense on why they kind of kept her. Like,
well, it's also a
almost kinda, like,
hilarious
brought her back.
storyline.
It is. It is, and it's almost like a storyline. It's like, why'd they bring her back into it?
Yep.
Because they kind of like almost.
Well,
for
she's
a
been in there
season-
since episode 1.
Yeah, but
Yeah.
they almost go 3 or 4 seasons without even mentioning her, and then all of a sudden,
No,
kinda like,
she's mentioned in every season.
Is-
They just
well,
might
no,
go
no,
a few
3 or 4
episodes.
episodes, excuse me.
Episodes, yes.
they go like 3 or 4 episodes, and
Yep.
not even mentioning her, and then all of a sudden, it's almost like a whole episode just about Charlie and her.
Yeah.
And then it's funny. I always wondered why they kind of like kept.
Not only is it a hilarious storyline, but yeah, they're married.
right. That makes more sense.
Mary Elizabeth, I think is her name.
Yep.
Yeah. And
Waitress.
she's great in that. Like
She must
her
get called
character's
waitress every-
also
everywhere she
changed
goes.
so much too.
Yeah.
Like from being like this waitress that's somewhat respectable to being a drunk
Yeah.
to being a drug addict to then
sex with
like
Frank.
doing all this sleeps with Frank very early on to get back at Dennis.
Yeah.
It's just so great.
Yeah.
Oh, damn it!
You got another favorite episode?
I do.
What's that one?
Mac bangs
Dennis's mom.
Yes,
That's a good one.
that's great.
When Dennis, I love the one part I love about that episode is Dennis going to both Charlie's mom and Rob's mom and wanting to sleep with them, and they're both like, "You're not my type."
Yeah.
I don't find you sexually
Yeah.
attractive.
Yeah. Or when they put their moms together and make like the sitcom.
Oh, that's a good one.
and then like Dee goes in there to try to like put herself on the show.
Yeah,
Dang, you
she's
goddamn
awful.
bitch.
Yeah. The episode where Kitten Mittens is great. Anything with the lawyer.
Yep.
Anything with the
Yep.
lawyer is
I'm a handful.
Absolutely.
goddamn hysterical.
No, the first
The other
lawyer.
lawyer, the good lawyer.
Oh yes, yeah.
The one who does the trial of the century, Ponderosa versus McPoyle.
Why do you people keep coming into my life?
Yes, yeah. And they try to hire him, a prostitute, to pay him for all the services that he's done.
Yeah.
And then Dennis at one point goes, "You know what I'll do for you? I'm gonna give you a revenge bang. I'll sneak into your wife into your house. And I'll lay back and I'll go into her, and it's just a revenge bang." And he's like, "Please don't sexually assault my wife." And he's like, "Well, I wouldn't call it that." But
Yeah.
oh, there's just so many that just continue to like rattle through my brain of how funny they are. And I'm super happy that we're getting the 16th season that they're shooting right now that should probably release, I would guess, this spring or this summer. And it sounds like as long as they can keep coming up with stories, they want to keep going. My issue is if one of them, and it's going to be Danny, dies, like I don't think they're going to do another. Like they might do one more to wrap it up to try to like pay respect to him, but they're going to end it after that if they even do that. Yeah. And that's going to be sad. I watch that show. That's what I watch to go to bed every night. I leave my TV on, I set a timer, and I watch that show for like one episode, and then I fall asleep during another episode. Yeah. And it's just always on repeat. And there was a time for you, and I don't know sure about anymore, it's literally just on in the background. You're doing whatever you're doing in your house, you're on your computer, you're doing whatever else. It's just on. So at any moment, you could just look over and go and laugh at something.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. That's genius.
Laugh at one of my top 5s.
Yeah. One of the many top 5s.
Yeah. Every episode's top 5.
Yeah, and I think I told you this before, KJ. I liked how when they brought Danny on the podcast, they kind of paid tribute to him.
In case he does die.
As an actor on their show and outside of the show. They did clips from other movies. You know, they went over his whole life. They went over everything. So I'm glad they did that just in case he does die.
Yep.
It's kind of a cool little thing because I don't think he'll go back on there, honestly.
On the podcast? He'll definitely go back on the podcast.
Yeah.
If he dies, I don't think he will.
If he dies, yeah. Remember the episode Mac and Charlie die?
Such a good episode.
That was
a two-parter.
That's early on.
It wasn't supposed to be a two-parter either. They just had so much material.
There's a lot of these episodes that can turn into movies.
Oh, yeah.
The one we were just talking about not long ago, it was 2 parts. Jersey Shore.
Jersey Shore was only 1 part.
Was that only 1 part? Mm-hmm. They could have done that a whole movie.
The Super Bowl was 2 parts.
Super Bowl was 2 parts.
The Family Reunion was 2 parts.
The High School Reunion.
Reunion, excuse me.
Oh, God, Family Reunion. That's not an episode. That could be an episode.
That could be an episode.
Like, we've met some of the family, but there's never been a family reunion where they've all gone, like Mac and Dennis. Or not Mac and Dennis.
Wait, whose family?
Anybody. Any of theirs.
Have all their family. They'll have like a collective family.
You could introduce other characters and bring in the characters that we've already met that's part of their family.
Mac's dad.
I just thought of another top 5.
Good.
Another top 5? Held hostage.
God, that's such a good one.
I love the McPoyles.
The McPoyles are real good. Invincible. The gang gets invincible.
Oh my God.
It's such a good episode where they try out for the Eagles.
Yes. Who got pregnant?
Who Got Pregnant is another just banger of an episode because they bring in all these side characters back. And it's so funny. The gang squashes their beef. Another episode where they bring a lot of people together that you don't see
Who's
together.
that guy? What's the character's name? The fat guy that tries to kill himself with the alcohol. Remember? He's like...
Ponderosa.
Yes,
Ponderosa,
yes, yeah. Yep. He's like, oh, you're dressed well today. It's like, yeah, it's a special occasion. What are you doing? I'm killing myself today.
But, so speaking of Ponderosa, the episode where Dennis gets married.
Yes.
To the Ponderosa's sister.
Yep.
Maureen. And then she turns into a fucking cat.
Yep.
Turns herself into a cat.
Yeah. So
like
funny.
It's just so crazy the stuff that they have.
Mac and Dennis break up.
That is such a good episode with them. Just Max, really dives into their dynamic.
His makeshift bike that he has, the dildo bike.
That's the hero or hate crime.
One. Yeah,
hero or hate crime.
That one's hero or hate crime. Yeah.
Hero or hate crime.
Yeah, that's such a good one.
Funny
the fact that when they're talking to those arbitrators and explaining, and I love that they go. One of them goes, "We're gonna use." No yelling at each other, no this. And they're like, we need another one.
They're like,
And then another one, after she hears the whole story, she's like, I'm going to make this on fairness and I'm compromised and yada yada.
They look at
and
each
they
other
boot her out.
And mind you, she was in like 19 minutes of
the episode, yeah.
And then they brought someone in right at the end.
Right at the end, who made the decision. Which, by the way, I watched a lawyer respond to that episode. That is not the right legal decision that would ever happen in a court of law.
Of course not.
But I love that they're like, well, he's gay. He's I'm not gay. Yeah. And then he brings out the bike.
You're gay, then you
get the ticket. I'm gay.
Yep.
I'm totally gay. I get the ticket.
Okay, you can go back in the closet now.
Well, they thought he was going to come out, or apparently there was a little bit of outrage in the gay community, so to speak. Not outrage, but disappointment that they didn't, because everybody knows he's gay and he's been gay since season 1.
They wanted a whole episode around
season
it.
1.
No. Yeah, season 1. He
transvestite.
Yes. Which, by the way, she's not a real transvestite, but she's super fucking hot.
Yeah, she's
like
super
hot.
So it's funny that they made her a transvestite.
Right? I love that she's got like they focus on the dick a couple times where she's like grabbing it, and then Mac walks over to her and he's like, "Is that a dick?" Then he punches her in the face, and then people are wondering if it's a hate crime.
It was the whole scene at the end when Glenn was coming in to get the basketball or football.
Basketball is the very beginning of Charlie Has Cancer.
Yeah, in that episode when he's coming in to get the basketball, and then she finally gets up off the couch.
Oh, that one. So that's that's still the Charlie Has Cancer episode. Yep.
Right, and her dick is just hanging off to the side, and she gets up, and it's in the shot
face
with his
level,
face, and he just looks at it.
It's so good.
For some reason.
And then she gives him the ball like into his chest, and he's like, "Oh, damn it!"
Oh yeah, she like pushes.
She's
like,
powerful. She got that man power.
He's kind of like, oh, okay.
It was so great. Such a great.
I just remembered my probably favorite episode actually. The gang beats Boggs.
Oh, that is a good one. I love that. Dee thinks it's.
And the girls have their own version of it too.
Which isn't as good.
No,
but it does. It did better than I thought it would for me.
I love Charlie in that episode.
Charlie's great. I love when he orders a stiff drink and he orders a game hen, or he's just like wants to eat and that episode also had Frank posting up, like always in the bathroom, ready for someone to come in to just try to bang him.
Yeah.
Oh, it's so good.
Great episode.
Yeah.
Along the lines of being at dinner, what about Charlie's date? That was the lawyer when he was a philanthropist.
Oh, a full-on rapist?
Full-on rapist.
Full-on rapist. So that's the one where the waitress gets married.
Yeah.
Where she's engaged, but I think that's when the waitress gets married. I think
remember the waiter at the fancy restaurant?
Yeah, he's great.
You guys don't remember me?
No.
I guess I don't.
But did you know that's also the same guy that hired them for the Pepe Sylvia? That episode where they get hired is by him, but not him later on. Yeah. So they talk about it during the podcast about potentially bringing him on.
Yeah.
And they only meet this guy once during HR, and they're like twins-ish. Like if you wanted to make them two separate characters. And they talked about them instantly remembering this guy that they just met for 1 second and continuing not to remember this other one who they've met through like 8 different episodes.
Because it's a running joke. Like they don't
be hilarious.
Yeah.
And then eventually they kind of remember where they tie his shoes together again and again. Oh, it's just real good. So I just remembered a part of Charlie work that I really liked. Charlie, that entire time, is like slamming a chair down. Yeah. And it looks like he's just trying to tighten the chair.
Every time
but
he walks
then
by
eventually Dee sits in it and she falls. And then Mac looks at Dennis and goes, "Did you do that?" And he's like, "Yeah, I think I did that." Yeah. It's just another way to like shove Charlie like he's unimportant.
Yeah.
That's real.
Yeah,
good.
No, I think I did do that. Yeah.
Yeah.
I'll start laughing. Yeah.
The one for where it's Charlie's birthday, but it's actually Frank's birthday, you find out later on. And they want to give him a spa day. And he's like, "Spaghetti?
Yeah,
a spaghetti day? Well, now I'm craving spaghetti."
Yeah. Can I bring it to the movie theater?
Can I bring it in? And he's like, "No, you can't bring outside food." "No, I bought this here." So you didn't buy spaghetti here.
He's like, "Okay."
Dennis looks like a registered sex offender.
Oh God.
Oh, that's funny such a good episode.
Charlie gets molested.
We already talked about that a little bit.
Back on the Charlie's birthday, they're like, "We weren't sure if you wanted a worm with a hat." Or, a hat for a worm.
So we did both.
Yeah.
Those are good. In his dream book.
Yeah, his dream book.
That's also the episode you meet. What is his name? He's one of Frank's guys because they hang out with him underneath the bridge.
Oh yeah.
I can't remember his name in the show, but he's also from The Wire, which, by the way, everybody should watch The Wire.
Frank's guy? What, the black guy?
Yeah, the black guy. From the Gang Turns Black as well. By the way, Gangs Turn Black. Probably one of my favorite musical episodes of all time.
I'm not a huge fan of musical episodes.
Either am I. But it's so funny.
It was a good one.
I hate them, and I love this.
Yeah, that was every song I could probably sing because it's that funny.
Yes. I don't think I can't think of his name.
Yeah, either can I. But you know what I'm talking about. Yeah. That's when you first meet him, and he's in that really sketched out place, and there's 2 people having sex behind like a white backdrop, and you can see their shadows.
Mm-hmm.
And yeah, he's trying to invite them to the party. It's so good. They have so many moments like that where they bring they go into this scenario, and it's just it just keeps escalating.
Mm-hmm.
You need me to scoop out them puppies so your dog can die.
Yeah. That's the Girl's Right to Chop, I think. Is that the same episode?
Yes.
Yeah.
Sounds right.
I don't remember. It's
Yeah,
hard
because
to...
the
hairdresser is
dog.
Poppins' girlfriend, so to speak.
One of the best side characters, I think, is Crickets.
Rickety Cricket is real good.
Hilarious. I love when they put him. He's like, no, I'm not going to do that. Well,
I thought you said there was going to be money or whatever, and he's like,
Maybe I'll do
well,
it.
you could just suck on these lemons. I'm not going to suck on the lemons. Fine, I'll take them back. Well, okay, I'll take the lemons. They're good for scurvy.
Give me lemons.
But seeing his descent from where he was to what he becomes.
And that episode, they have almost like all about him where like...
I was okay with that.
It wasn't the best episode, but it was...
Doesn't help that he was trying to have sex with a dog.
Right.
That didn't really sell me on it.
I didn't like the episode until the very end where they had it like...
Whitty was having sex with the dog? Right. That's when you were like, you know what, guys? Like I need to watch this again. Let's just rewind and put in slow-mo.
Well, when the episode early on when they hunted him, remember?
Oh, they hunted him, Manhunter.
I was just going to bring that one up. That's a top 5 for me. I love Manhunters. You don't hunt no man.
Sweet D has a heart attack. Also another good one for me because there's quite a few scenes in that. That is good. Is that the Pepe Sylvia episode? That is the Pepe Sylvia episode. That's right. But if you look at Dennis and Dee's...
Because they want to get health insurance.
That's right. Dennis and Dee's story where they go to the gym to work out, but they don't have the right clothes yet.
I love that.
And then they try to do the spin class, but they won't let him because she had a heart attack. But then they literally walk all the way outside to his car, grab a CD, come all the way back in, and play it.
Oh,
who is it?
So
Who's
funny.
what?
The CD.
I don't remember.
And he was like, "It's fucking."
Is that who he always talks about?
That was so funny. He threw the CD in and he said something. And
That's for you.
He did like a dance and he walked out.
Yeah,
that was a great scene.
And then he said he hasn't shit in days.
He's like,
he's running at 100% efficiency.
Yes, 100% efficiency. My body's using everything.
Yeah, this is for you.
Yeah, the gang reignites a rivalry is funny to me just for the scene where they're in the pledge not sorority. That's the female version. What am I thinking here? Oh, damn it.
Fraternity.
Thank you. And they're in the frat house, and with all the girls that are all painted.
Oh, yeah, that was good.
And then getting kicked out, and they're just being all excited and everything. That's a good one. The gang gets a new member. It's Jason Sudeikis.
Yep.
Coming in. That's a really good one. That's the but episode too. And they try to kick him out of a car again.
Yeah.
Also, the one with Sean Scott was good.
What?
The one with Sean William Scott.
Oh, that's Mac Day.
Yeah, Mac Day. Yeah.
Yep, that's a good one.
That's a great episode.
Yeah, that's a really good one. I hated that. So Hulu has canceled out some of the episodes because of like blackface stuff, especially with Dee's character.
I don't know who you're talking about.
Yeah, that whole both of her things, and then that also takes out like some of the Lethal Weapon episodes.
Remember when D dates a retard?
Yes, that's such a good one though.
And
then when he drops that rap at the end,
that was so funny.
So good.
I haven't seen it in so long. Is that because they took that out? Did they take that out?
No, that's still on there. Yep.
Hey, how's my
Do you know what the gang recycles their trash? I have not seen in years.
Oh my god!
Because it's not on Hulu. Because that's an episode where D
fixes the trash problem. Funny episode. They rent a limo.
Yeah,
they go house to
that's
house.
the gang recycles their trash.
No,
that's the episode
gang,
about.
I think that's called Gang.
The gang recycles
solves the trash crisis or something.
The gang recycles their trash because it's similar to a bunch of other episodes they already did.
It's the gang solves the gas crisis.
That's a great episode. Damn it!
I'm mixing
there
them
are
up.
too many episodes.
Yeah, I'm mixing them up.
But yes, that's an amazing one.
The corner with the barrels of gas.
How do you count a liquid? I know how to count,
we
dude.
We gotta draw him in. He's breathing fire.
Breathing fire, yeah.
He's like, I tell you, if I keep drinking some of this gas, we're gonna start losing money.
That it's such a good. The fact that they created a chart with the look at the gas prices. This is how much money we're gonna make, and she's like, "What are those?" Well, those are women with very large breasts. And I have to be honest, thought we'd be speaking to a man. Can we speak to your manager?
Yeah. Is your boss around? Maybe,
she's also yada yada. Oh, your woman's a boss. This is a weird bank.
Yeah.
Which one do you want us to
take our shirts
you in
off?
the back?
And then one person does. Like, no, I was gonna do it, and they all do it.
And that's also one of my favorite scenes at the end where Charlie. Wild card bitches.
Wild card, yeah.
Oh my god. Well, the brakes don't work. Why don't the brakes work? Because I cut the brakes.
Wild card,
but that's
bitches.
in Gang Recycles Their Trash. He does that again, but they all know he's gonna do it, so he jumps out and they're fine.
Yep.
Also a great scene, but one I haven't seen in
they're riding around the limo with all the trash.
Yes, with the trash.
So funny.
It's so good.
I have a top 5 for you.
Oh Jesus.
I'm just saying. Dennis and Deagle on welfare.
Yes.
Oh,
I was just looking at that. I was just looking at that one right here. Yeah.
You got what I need.
That's early on too.
That's season 2.
3. Yep.
It's so good.
That's a great one. That's
Also
when they kind of because that's early on in Frank when he was like wealthy and like
yes. I mean, he's always wealthy, but yes, that's where he's.
Yes, that's when he was like more predominant.
Yes. A Very Sunny Christmas. I love that one.
Yeah.
When you find out that Charlie's mom has just been a big whore and gets a train ran on her every Christmas.
So like 15, 16, 17 Santas come in. They all give you a present. They go upstairs.
And they come down and they're all happy.
Right.
And then you find out Mac's childhood, they've been stealing presents.
Yep.
Like every home or every Christmas going into a new home and just like stealing one present per thing. That's great. And that's also where Charlie sits on Santa's lap. Did you fuck my mom, Santa?
Yeah.
And he's like, what do you mean?
Did you fuck my mom?
Did you fuck my mom? Did you fuck my fucking mom, Santa? Oh, it's so funny.
So funny.
Frank's Little Beauties. My God, is that episode
was so funny, but like so like shocking at the same time.
Yeah.
Oh my God.
It's so really good though.
He's
do you think we should do a song? I don't like the little kids. I wouldn't date anybody younger than my daughter.
There's no quicker way to tell people that you're diddling little kids than writing a song about taking them.
Oh, it's so good. He also has that thing where he's talking to the mortician and the mic's still on.
Yes.
So he's asking like, you ever touched one of the dead bodies? Like, what do you do?
Yeah. You ever fuck a dead body?
Yeah. Oh, it's just so good. Okay, so let's talk about worst episodes because we've been talking for a little bit now, quite a bit of time of just like favorite funny things. So let's go to worst as we get towards the end of this podcast. I know my episode I hate the most, so I'll start with me and you guys can think about it. Mine is Frank's brother in season 7.
Yep.
I did not like that episode at all. It just didn't land for me. I know for a fact it's one of their favorites from the Always Sunny crew. They really liked that episode. It's got a decent cast, but it didn't land with me. I didn't care. I didn't find it that funny. Mm-hmm. There was a couple moments in there that might have been funny, but for the most part, I didn't like that episode at all. And that's, again, in my favorite season 7.
Yep.
Like, it has my favorite episode in there and my least favorite episode. Because I think Charlie McDennis is season 7, right?
The gang cracks the Liberty Bells kind of down there on episodes. They had a couple of really funny moments, but overall...
Yeah, it definitely had funny moments. I would agree that it wouldn't be one of my favorites, but I love the idea of them trying to convince this lady that their bar should be like a historical site.
The concept of it was great. I think the execution.
Yes. Yeah. What about you, Nick?
This might come as a surprise, but I don't think I can muster up a worst episode.
You didn't like Frank's brother. We've talked about it many times.
It was all right.
No, it wasn't.
It was all right. That's as low as I go. It was all right. I probably have a few that are all right.
A few that are all right?
Yeah, I can't think of a worst episode.
Like that Frank's brother for me is there, and then the gang buys a roller rink.
The brother is the one with
I'm
Shadynasty,
Googling
right?
worst episodes.
It's Shadynasty, yeah.
On Sunny, just to kind of give me some...
Hard to call it the worst episode.
No, it's not.
And this list is terrible because
I
some
think
of these
the roller
episodes
rink.
are great.
Yeah.
I think the roller rink.
The Antisocial Network, by the way. Like he posted those nudes on that X site. Well, which
where?
one? There's so many.
Where did he post them?
Specifically.
Yeah, specifically.
Which
like,
website?
Which one?
And the gang fights or Mac fights gay marriage.
That's a good one. Yeah.
So good.
Charlie and Dee find love, where Charlie has this big plan to try to get back at, or not back at the waitress, but make the waitress jealous.
And they meet those rich people.
Yes. And
yeah. Okay.
It's such a good episode, especially from Charlie's point of view.
Ass Kickers United.
I wasn't a giant fan of Ass Kickers.
It wasn't the best, but it wasn't terrible.
Obviously, we talked a little bit about the cereal defense is great. Reynolds versus Reynolds, where he's in the bowl of cereal. And then how it starts talking about religion and science is so good. How they keep diverting and talking about it.
The Patty Bucks.
Oh, yeah.
They have all those people camping.
It's about the recession.
The recession, yeah. The gang sells a recession.
Yeah, that's a good one. And then he's like, "Well, how does this work? I don't know.
Yeah,
I don't know.
We just that was a great one. And also when they had the mobile bus for like St. Patty's Day. Remember?
Where they're just robbing everybody.
And then they ended up just like a terrible experience and like, all right, we're just gonna rob you and drop you off somewhere where you can't tell anyone. And
that's when Charlie finds a leprechaun.
And then they pick someone up at the end, and they just automatically start like robbing them without even trying.
They're like, we forgot.
Yeah.
I know one that we forgot that is up there, at least for me. The Gang Saves the Day, where they're in the convenience store. And it's getting robbed, and you get a perspective of each one of theirs.
Yeah,
I thought it was good. I didn't think it was.
Oh god, especially the Charlie one, where it's animated with him and the waitress.
I'll go top 25 on that for sure. Oh, what's the Trash Man episode? Frank.
The gang wrestles for the troops.
I think that's gonna sound bad.
Birds of War.
Does that sound bad? That's probably my least favorite episode.
Oh no, I was gonna say like that one's not great.
Yeah, I didn't like that one.
No, that one's not great.
No.
Although it did introduce Roddy Piper as the maniac, and I love when he comes. Which by the way, I don't know how we even talked about this episode. The gang buys a timeshare.
Great.
That is such a good episode.
Don't worry, Bozo. We're just here for the free weekend or whatever.
Yeah, the golf clubs.
Yeah, the golf clubs. And they're like, wait a second. So you're telling us.
You're telling me.
No. You said it already. Too late. We're signing it. Sucker. Sucker. We got you.
Who's Frank? The man in the coil.
Yeah.
So it's a pyramid scheme. No, it's an upside down funnel. Turn it over. God damn it. Which also reminds me of The Office, where it's supposed
Jim
to
just draws
the triangle and shows him that it's a pyramid. It's so good.
Quick side note: they just gave Mahomes the NFL MVP.
No,
they just announced it. Yep.
How?
Now I want the Eagles to win.
Yeah, I didn't even think he was really like in contention for it. Like I know he was, but I didn't think he was going to be like.
It's one of those. It's like so obvious. He's sort of like. It's a boring choose, but
I mean, he is really good though.
Yeah.
I like him.
Yeah.
All right, so let's talk about a couple more, and then we'll wrap this up and call it a day. The Matt kills his dad. The gang goes on family fight. Are both okay? The gang spies like us. Is a really good one.
That's a great one.
And that's about the cream
Chinese,
pies.
Yes.
Oh, yeah.
It's so good.
And Dee goes there to work and just fucks everything
Screws
up.
everything up. And then there's a scene where Charlie goes and sits at the restaurant, which again is that waiter,
Yes,
and they try to order the fish, but it says fresh
cod.
fish
Over
every
and over.
day.
Yeah, I'll take the cod.
And they're like, no, we don't have it, but it says fresh fish. Like I don't understand.
The only reason they can't is because Dee fucked everything up with the fish. Yeah.
And then when Dennis and Mac and Charlie meets them, he's like, we know what you guys are doing. Like, I don't know why you guys are doing. Like, we should all do this together. Because they're thinking about masturbating.
Yeah.
He's thinking about making a cream pie. And we could just make a big giant. If we combine all of our ingredients, we can make one big cream pie. And then it's like, it's good.
There's so many. I mean, I could go through each season and just be like, every episode.
The gang hits the slopes.
That's good.
That's a really good one. The
one.
ones where they leave the bar
Right.
really do, like, there are probably some that aren't that good, but really resonate as being funny.
Right.
They just have that extra-ness to it. And I like that this show takes chances. Like, they're willing to do an episode like this. They're willing to do an episode just out of Frank's point of view.
The underage drinking one?
Yes.
Hilarious.
Both of them, because technically there's the one early on without Frank in season 1, and then the one when the gang all splits up and kind of does their own thing, and Frank meets up with that new bar, and then he buys all those kids fake IDs, and then calls the health inspector.
Oh, what's that one where they go to the Reignites the Rivalry one?
Reignites the Rivalries is a good one. And
Pirates?
Philadelphia.
Where pirates live?
That's yeah. Well, so that one is the bar crawl episode. I don't remember the name of it.
Korea episode?
I mean, yes, it's about it's supposed to be about like North Korea.
North Korea crisis?
It's possibly that. That sounds right. But then he ends up dating, or Charlie ends up kind of dating like a 12-year-old.
Yeah.
That's definitely a good one.
Gang goes jihad.
Yeah, that's a decent one.
The ski slopes episode. I've never seen the movie that it was based on. But
it's not based off one. It's based off like 30 movies from the 80s.
Oh, okay.
That were all like ski slopes.
Stereotypical 80s ski movie
where
it doesn't
everybody's only focused on like the two people that just arrived.
Yeah.
And I love that the intercom guy keeps talking about them, and Charlie's like, how does he know?
Right.
I swear something somewhere said that it was about a specific movie, though.
There are a ton of movies that I've seen that are very similar. So it might be referencing one more than another, but there's tons of 80 movies like that. PTSD is a good one.
Mm-hmm.
That's where that's where Charlie and Dennis strip is a good one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It ain't top 5.
The Gang Breaks D is also another really, really good one.
Yep.
I didn't like Dennis's double life was but from that we got, obviously, I'm a huge escape room guy. The Gang Escapes is such a good episode. Yep.
That is
so funny.
How did she get out? Clever girl.
Clever girl, yeah. The gang solves a bathroom problem.
I love that one
best
too.
Clip show episode of any show I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
The Gang Does a Clip Show is a great one, and that's when even you mentioned about liking Seinfeld.
Yep.
They reference Seinfeld with the bet part, and they literally do it like scene or shot for shot, and they're like, well, when did we live in New York? Must have been in like the 90s, right? And who are those people laughing? The crowd, the people. Yeah, that's a really good one.
Flowers for Charlie.
Yep, Flowers for Charlie is a good one where he becomes super smart. Yep.
Hilarious.
Yeah, there's just so many, man. It's
so
it doesn't stop. Thunder Gun 4, with the second part of, to be fair, the first Thunder Gun episode is so much better, where they keep leaving people behind. We'll come back for you. They don't. Frank steals the boat and tries to drive it upstream. And he's talking to these Asian people, talking like they know who he is and who Charlie is. Who's Charlie? He's my buddy. You know Charlie. We hang out under the river or under the bridge, and
we play Nightcrawlers together.
Yeah, we play Nightcrawlers, and like he really likes the waitress. I bang the waitress, and it's so good.
Rumham.
Oh, that's from whatchamacalled, Jersey Shore episode.
Jersey Shore,
That's such a good
Like
episode.
I said, they really could have took the Jersey Shore episode and made it a whole movie.
Although I do like that they don't seem to spend too much time on one thing. Right. However, they did in this last season where it's all about, they have like 5 episodes out of the 8 that are all about Ireland. And it's different because they've done 2-part episodes before, and they've had some stuff bleed into the next episode, but it's like a 5-part episode. And it worked, but I don't know if I'd like that all the time, because I like their episodic shit where shit's just random.
Right.
Like, some stuff obviously sticks around depending on what you do, but to have that where anything can happen type of thing. And apparently something happens in the new season with Rob's voice.
Oh, really?
So I'll be very curious to see Mac, what specifically. They wouldn't tell us anything, but they're laughing about it. So
they said he had a prosthetic.
Yeah.
something on his face.
Something, yeah. So I'm excited for it.
Also, White Trash.
Oh, the White Trash episode is good.
Where they're in the pool and they're
they can't get out of the pool.
Yeah. Oh my gosh,
talking about how white trash they are.
Yeah.
Or they try to get into like the access to the pool.
Yes,
and they won't let them in.
And they keep like drinking beer and throwing beer. And then I remember when Dee spits and Dennis like looks at her and he's like, "Oh yeah, that was too far. That was too far."
I love when I think it was Dennis and Dee were talking about how somebody is specifically is white trash because they're throwing rocks at each other.
Yeah.
Oh, they're throwing rocks at the pool.
Yep.
And then immediately they go to Charlie and
they're
they're throwing rocks at each other.
Which also,
God.
In the episode for Christmas, that's what they're throwing rocks at trains.
Yes.
Like that's just those characters. Like they've kept that all this time.
Then as soon as I saw that though, I thought of when I used to throw rocks at my friends. We used to throw rocks at each other with tennis rackets as a kid.
I did that.
I was like, damn, I'm white trash.
I've been white trash, man. That's fine. All right, so let's wrap this up because we've been talking for a while. It's an amazing show. Like we all know that. So
I'm gonna go home and watch it for 2 hours before I fall asleep. I'm just.
Well, let's start with you, Richard.
There's nothing wrong with that.
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with that at all. Let's start with you. Closing thoughts on Always Sunny.
Like I said, probably the best show of all time. I can't wait to go watch the last. I don't think the last 2 seasons I've seen actually.
Ooh, you need to
I know.
watch that.
I've really
it's
been
all on
slacking.
Hulu. It's all on Hulu.
I think I've not really been slacking lately, but I'm gonna go check those out.
But the only good part about slacking is now you have like 16 episodes to watch that are brand new to you, and you'll know some of the shit that we're talking about.
And I know that they're good because some of the fear of a new season coming out, especially in a show that's so good, it's like how are they? How are they going to top the previous seasons?
That's their fear too. That's what they talk about it during the podcast of. They only want to keep doing this if they can keep being good. But if you've been doing this for as long as we have, they're 160, 170 episodes in. Like, how do you keep being original and keep making it good? But you'll notice in at least the latest season, like I said, there's one bad episode that I didn't really like, and then the rest of them are great.
Well, I'm glad to hear that so I can actually watch them and know that like it's going to be a good product.
Yeah, it's going to be good. Like, you should love The Gang Replaces D with a Monkey.
Yeah.
Like, him and I have watched that I don't know how many times. It's great. It's so funny. And then when they go with the whole Ireland storyline, it's fantastic. I don't want to... We'll talk about it after you've watched it, but I'd like to talk to you off air just to get your take on that one, because there's stuff that him and I quote from that episode, but I don't want to give anything away. So it'd be very interesting to talk to you afterward to see what your take on that one is, because it's so funny.
You said 2 seasons. Does that mean you haven't seen The Gang Texts?
How did we not talk about The Gang Texts, Nick?
That's a top 5.
That might be a top 2.
I
haven't seen that one.
Oh God.
My
I'm
God.
fucking jealous.
So you haven't seen the Waiting for the Big Mo episode. So once you get there, that means he also hasn't seen Thunder Gun, the new Thunder Gun.
D-Day.
Yeah, The Gang Chokes.
The new Thunder Gun. Oh, I love that one too.
Yeah, The Gang Chokes is a really good one. Because when Frank actually chokes and no one does anything.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, they have a huge thing about it?
Dude, it's so good. And just watch Dennis's face.
That's awesome.
Oh, my God.
Patty's Head of Jumper was actually pretty good.
It was okay.
It was entertaining.
Yeah.
But you have a lot of good episodes to watch.
Yeah, so you have 18 episodes. 10 from the season before and then 8 from this latest one.
I'm excited. That's awesome.
And there's some good... Like, out of all of those, out of 18, only one is, I would say, bad, and not necessarily bad, but not great. And then you have maybe 2 that are okay, and then you have the others that are great.
Yep. Awesome.
So you should have some stuff to look forward to.
Hell yeah.
So
I envy you.
I know.
Right? I can't wait for the new season to watch new stuff. Right. What about you, Nick? Closing thoughts, Always Sunny.
I wish I could give myself brain damage to forget.
I mean, you already have brain damage. Let's be clear.
just to forget the episodes so I can rewatch them.
Yeah,
they're just so fucking good.
Although it doesn't stop me from watching them, though. I watch them constantly,
I know.
And I still enjoy them.
There's a comfort
and laugh
in watching things that you've already seen before.
Yeah, but I still there aren't many things that I can rewatch and laugh at. Always Sunny is one of them.
Yeah,
and especially with him and I have before been doing something and we've had it on the background, and both of us will stop mid-sentence and then see what's going on over there, laugh about it, and then go back to what we're dealing with.
Probably because there's so many laughable moments that when you rewatch an episode, you almost forget about.
You can't remember everything. Yeah,
right. You can't remember
the
whole
Pepe
episode.
Sylvia episode has so many little things that it's so funny.
You remember that part of the episode,
yeah.
But then you rewatch it, you're like, oh, I forgot about this, and this, and this.
Yep.
And you can rewatch it 100 times.
And most of the episodes have multiple stories, so you might remember one. Like, I don't know how many times already in this podcast we were talking about something, and then somebody else talked about something, and we were like, oh wait, that's the same episode.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Exactly.
So, I think for my whole life, since I've been watching It's Always Sunny, the 3 shows that have always overlapped, like top 3 for me, comedy-wise, have always been Friends, The Office, and It's Always Sunny. And when The Office was still on, I never really had like this is the best show, this is my number 1 show of all time, and I think it will be forever. But I loved it, and I always will, and it's always going to make me laugh having it on in the background. But Sunny is just something more than that. I don't know. I feel
a new
like
episode coming out. It was a lot more exciting than a new episode of The Office coming out.
Yeah. Honestly, I just feel like I can call It's Always Sunny my number 1 show for the rest of my life.
Is it weird to say that I feel like I connect more with these characters than I do with like the Office characters?
Is that bad?
Yeah, I feel like that's bad, right? Like it's hard to want to say that because one's like a serial killer, one's doing all this other gross stuff. Like, but when I look at them, it feels more like, I don't want to call it real because they are over the top, but how we are as friends of yelling at each other and making jokes and all this other stuff feels very apparent in that, and how things can escalate, which granted they never escalate to that level in real life, but just the way they react to some of the stuff, we've reacted that way.
Mm-hmm.
I think by you saying that, I think you relate to the characters more than the actors relate to the characters of themselves.
I don't know. It sounds like some of them really
I think
well.
Dennis with the anger problems, yes.
Yeah.
But other than that, I mean, they're just acting. They don't seem to have any link to their characters besides that anger from Dennis.
Yeah, definitely the anger. Charlie has mentioned like him being weird and stuff. Maybe not to the level that Charlie is in the show.
Right. I mean, they're all the extremes of all those personalities.
You dial it up to 12.
Yeah, it's 12 for sure.
Yeah.
I just love it.
Yeah, for me, it's one of my favorite shows ever. It's not my favorite show ever just because there's something about like a good drama type story that has a really good drawn out story where you have a beginning, middle, and end. But for like a weekly episodic type show and for a sitcom, it blows everything out of the water. I've watched this show more than I've watched any other show in my life. I have rewatched this series probably over 100 times because it's just always on and it's always funny, and I've yet to get sick of it.
So
there might be what?
Comedy in general, is it your favorite?
I'd probably say it's my favorite comedy. Okay. Yeah. It's not my just favorite show ever,
right?
But it's definitely my favorite comedy just because I can keep watching it. And there's no other show. Like, I can kind of do it with The Office, and I have done it with The Office, but I don't find myself laughing with The Office. I find myself enjoying it, snickering, maybe smiling, and being like, oh, that's a really good scene, but I don't feel myself ever laugh. And there are times in Always Sunny, especially the new episodes that I haven't seen, but even the ones I have seen multiple times, where sometimes I'll belly laugh. And I get more enjoyment out of talking about Always Sunny with like you and other friends, where you just, how many times did we start talking about a scene and all of us were picturing it and instantly started laughing?
Yeah.
That, like, I don't have any other show that's like that, where there's this many moments and this many scenes where you're just going to laugh hysterically.
I think that's the exact reason why I wouldn't put a drama or any other type of genre of TV show as number 1. Because I feel like you always have to, if it's number 1, you have to have the ability to rewatch at any point and just belly laugh. Compared to
not necessarily
just watching
belly
something
laugh.
like
I would
The
say
Wire.
enjoy. The Wire, I'm literally rewatching as we speak.
Yeah,
It's
but you
an
can't
amazing
just
show.
start at season 4, episode 10 of The Wire.
No, because
You
it's
know
not
what I mean?
episodic.
Exactly.
You gotta watch it. So
I feel
that's
like
why
you
it's a little
can't
bit
put
different.
it in as a number 1 because you can't just pick it up at any point.
But that's why I say it's my number 1 comedy.
Yeah, I know.
Number 1 comedy, but like, so if I had to, if you have comedy, if you have drama, if you have this, that, or the other, I could have number 1s in all of them. And if I had a choice, I'm probably gonna pick the comedy because I enjoy laughter more than most things. But there is something to be said about an amazing story that has a begin, middle, and end that's just perfection.
Oh yeah, I have some amazing shows that I, you know, that aren't comedies, but I would never put one of them at number 1.
Stuck on a stranded island, you can only bring one TV show and one movie with you. One TV series. You're going to bring Always Sunny.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? You're not going to bring Game of Thrones. You're not going to bring it. If you can only bring one TV series with you.
Yeah, I'm bringing
that's the reason.
And not to mention,
you're bringing Always Sunny.
Part of it's because of how many episodes it has, too.
Right.
Although, I mean,
I don't think so. If it had half the amount of episodes.
The Office technically has almost as many episodes because they used to do 24 a season.
I'd still bring Sunny.
Oh, so would I. But so that's my point. I was thinking like there's so many episodes, but there's actually not compared to like a season or a show that used to have 24 episodes.
Right.
It's just the fact that the enjoyment of it. I would take Always Sunny.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it makes sense to me. Or I'd take a show that just has like 50 seasons that I've never seen before, because then at least I've got something new to watch.
Unless it's a really shitty show.
I agree. But I could take Law and Order like for 25 seasons. That would give me a lot to watch, but I'd rather laugh and know that I'm going to enjoy Always Sunny.
Mm-hmm.
That's true.
Yeah. All right. So we're going to wrap it up there. Thank you both for joining with the special episodes. I know it was a twofer, doing one episode and then right to another, so I appreciate it. Next week, we will be back with the regular podcast group with Corey and Mike, and we'll be doing Ant-Man Quantumania.